everyone, it's Shannon here from Craft Ghetto. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple water background with just one alcohol ink, which pairs perfectly with the new Cheers stamp set. This is the Cheers combo set. It comes with the Cheers stamp set as well as the Cheers matching die in the back, and it also comes with the rainbow die, which I won't be using today. I'll also be using the A2 Nesting Rectangles 1 die set to add a stitched border to my panel. I'm going to start with my alcohol ink background. I have some Yupo paper as well as some alcohol blending solution, a Ranger ink, this is Sailboat Blue, and a heat gun as well. My Yupo paper is larger than an A2 panel. It's actually 5x7, which is nice because I can cut down the paper to just the portion that I think is the prettiest. So I am starting with the Sailboat Blue, just squeezing some of that alcohol ink down onto the Yupo paper, kind of spreading it around. And once I have a fair amount of it onto the paper, I'm going to start adding some of the blending solution. And this blending solution will kind of dilute and make the ink more liquidy and runny. And this is really important to get the different tones in this blue, from light to dark blue, all within this just one alcohol ink. So you definitely need some of this blending solution. So I'm going back and forth, adding some blending solution, picking up my paper, moving the ink around. Also will add some more of the ink in some of the bare areas or any place that I think has gotten too light. And I have my heat gun in hand, but I actually don't use it till the very end because I like to keep my paper as fluid and liquidy as possible before I set any of this ink down. So I'm almost done here, continuing to play with the ink and getting it more fluid and really spreading it around. And I have now most of the Yupo paper covered with this Sailboat Blue. And now I'm using the heat gun to kind of set the ink a little bit and dry it. I'm going to grab the largest die from the A2 Nested Rectangles die set just to make sure I have enough of this panel colored, and I do, so I'm now ready to move on to stamping my images. I have some white cardstock mounted in my MISTI. I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the Cheers stamp set onto the smaller piece, which is 1 3/4 by 4 inches, and then I'll stamp the kitty in his inner tube on the other portion of white cardstock. I'll be inking the sentiment and the image up with Memento Tuxedo Black because this is an alcohol-friendly ink, and I'll be using my Copics to color the kitty in today. I'll stamp it once and then I'll ink it up and stamp it a second time just to get it nice and bold and crisp. Once I finish stamping, I'm ready to color the kitty in. I have my Copics up top here. I will also list the color I'm using on screen so you can follow along. I'm going to play some music and I'll meet you back when I'm just about done. Okay, so I'm back. I'm just finishing up the red portions of the inner tube, going with my lightest color over some of the darker areas just to blend it out a little bit, and that will complete my coloring. I'm now going to take a Decofoil adhesive pen and very carefully place the adhesive right on the white portions of the sunglasses. I want to foil these portions of the glasses with some iridescent foil, so first I'm going to put down this adhesive. Once I've got those glasses covered, I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. I'm now going to die cut my A2 panel from my Yupo paper. My Yupo paper is now completely dry, and I've taken the largest die from the A2 Nesting Rectangles 1 die set, and I'm now centering it on the nicest portion of the Yupo paper. Then I grab my top plate, place it on top, and then I'll run it through my die cut machine. Now I'll just pop out the A2 panel, and I'll have this beautiful stitched border on my panel. With my panel cut out, I'm now going to move on to my kitty. I have some iridescent foil that I'm going to place on top of the glasses, which are now dry. The glue is dry, but it is tacky. I'm going to die cut this cat out first with the matching die before I run it through my laminator and heat set the foil. I'm going to just use some micropore tape to hold the die in place, then run it through, and now I'm removing the tape and the die will pop right out, and I'll cut out that cat perfectly. Now that the cat is popped out, I'm going to grab the carrier sheet, place the kitty inside, and then run it through my laminator. And now I'll just remove the extra portion of foil. I have a little bit on the black portions of the sunglasses, so I'm just taking a needle here and kind of scratching off the foil on those areas, and that will, now I'll hold up to the camera so you can see the beautiful iridescent shades that we've made for this little cool cat. I now have all my pieces finished, so I can now assemble my card. I have an A2 top folding card base. I also trimmed down my sentiment to 1 3/4 by 3, and I also created 2 more strips the same dimensions. I'm going to start by adhering the panel to my card base with a tape runner. With my panel stuck down, I'm now moving on to my sentiment. I'm going to stack up all 3 of these strips of white cardstock just to add a little bit of dimension, a little bit less than using some foam tape. I wanted the sentiment to kind of pop up from the background, but I didn't want it to be popping up as much as the foam tape would, so I just stacked up some cardstock to achieve that dimension. And I just used some liquid glue to hold them all together. And then I place them on the left side, sort of the left side of the card. And now I'm adding some foam tape to the back of the cat and removing the backing, and I'll just place this right above the sentiment on that sentiment strip. And that will complete the card. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see all the details. I really like how this card turned out. I love the alcohol ink background. I love all the different tones we got from that sailboat blue ink, and the foil glasses are just so cute. This is a great card, perfect for a male birthday, which are sometimes hard to make. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want any more information on the products I use, please visit waffleflower.com, and you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching.